Welcome to the Deep Stone Podcast. I'm your host, Dimitri, and I'm joined once again by Nick and John. Hello, dudes.
Hey, hello.
Hey.
Yeah, we've been on a bit of a hiatus. We just didn't feel like there was a need to make episodes every week if there was really nothing going on in the game. And we also needed a bit of a break, all of us, for the winter and like Christmas and whatnot. But we're glad to be back. Unfortunately, we all logged in and there's really nothing different going on in the game right now. I think we stand with the rest of the community that nobody knows what's going on with the Hawkmoon mission. Nobody knows when the random roles are going to be available. But I definitely thought it would eventually happen by now. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? You want to start, Nick?
Sure. So we are about, what are we, halfway through this? No, more than halfway through the season. If the next one starts like February 9th, is it?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it's literally 4 weeks.
Yeah. So, like you said, it's about time if that is the loop that we can expect. Like, I was expecting to have like the latter half of this whole season be like chasing Hawkmoon and being that. So maybe I don't feel like there's room for that kind of loop anymore. Like maybe the couple last weeks we get the start of that, but then that has to continue through to the next season, right? Because this is not enough weeks to get, because there's so many options to get like a role you want necessarily. So
yeah,
that, and obviously there's been I played Iron Banner actually. I was going for the steady hand-to-hand cannon and things like that, but that's more just like a social thing where it doesn't, like, Iron Banner doesn't have new stuff, but it's just one of those things I'll do eventually anyway because it's fun with a couple friends and stuff like that. And I've been cleaning out my vault. I was like maxed on everything. I'd had 500 items in my inventory, Postmaster maxed. I had all my characters full. So I just I put like 2 hours, 3 hours on just like going through everything. And now I'm down to like 200 items. So, which is still quite a bit, but yeah, so just wait and see mode right now for me.
Right. What about you, John?
Yeah, pretty much the same. No, done the high celebrant stuff. Didn't get the ship last week because
forgot about that.
Killed it too quick. Not tried it this week. So, wait and see mode. I hit season pass level like 3 weeks ago, something like that. Maybe before Christmas. So, I've got no reason to chase that. I'll jump on and do some Iron Banner this week because I like Iron Banner. Apart from that, wait and see mode. And I know. So at the time, every time I said it, I was like, "Oh, I hope there's new content this week. Why is it going to get stale?" Now I'm like, "It's stale." We had a 25-minute mission last week with Crow, which he wasn't even a part of. He was just there, like talking through our comms, and that's it. I know people rib on Rasputin and everything like that, but that was awesome compared to this. This had so much promise, and we got 90 minutes of gameplay from the season so far. That pure gameplay, and then there's all the repetitive loops. But about 90 minutes of pure brand spanking new content with the season, and the rest of it is just looping back and just repeating the same stuff again and again and again. And it's like, let's just hope next season is better.
So
go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember what the precedent is for that in general. Like how many story missions you get that are like tied to the season that you pay for. Like there's always this repeatable thing. I'm trying to remember what, like in the previous season we had a couple of things where you did the weekly mission, right? That always ended at the tree looking thing with Eris.
Yeah,
which was kind of cool, and
that was technically one a week, but because they had to extend the season by 6 to 7 weeks, we then had some some weeks of nothing, but it's
Right,
still
but there was
it was
still quite
enough.
a few
Yeah,
unique, like,
well, there was basically nearly 3 months worth of pure content one day every week. Like
yes,
it was 10 or 12 missions.
yeah.
So
So yeah, compared to even that, this is thin. But yeah, I completely forgot about to mention the mission itself. I thought the mission, though, to be fair, was pretty good. If it when it worked,
it was
we
good.
had to restart it like 5 times, but when it did work, like chasing, because that's the thing I was hoping also to like repurpose the Dreaming City in some way. So just getting
Right.
to run through there and having like that arena where you fight the boss at the first time before you warp out of there and things. That's such a beautiful room, and it's a nice thing to like, because if they didn't sunset that area, might as well like use it to the fullest. So I appreciate every little thing that takes us there. So and that was like the first one that actually felt like a hunt too, where you're actually like going around and trying to chase a boss.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if
Yeah.
if more of the hunts would have been on par with this one, this would have been a really, really good season loop, I feel like. But as it
Hmm.
is, I think it's a little bit thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I second that. I mean, I was actually hoping when I heard about the hunts that it would be like stalking your prey, not just putting out a thing and then they show up. Like,
Yeah.
I was really hoping we could stalk them, like, and it would be like a prolonged thing. But, obviously that's not what happened. But yeah, I mean, I did the Celebrant mission once and then I logged off. I haven't played the game seriously in probably a month or so. Like,
Yeah.
because there's just nothing going on, and there's nothing for me to chase right now. Like, when Mayhem comes around, that's when I play because then I just farm Crucible for the pulse rifle. But other than that, I haven't done the raid yet because I don't have a team and I don't have and I've just been really, really tired. Honestly,
Mm.
I've just been so burned out. But I definitely think the highlight of this season's probably gonna go down as the raid. Um,
Yeah.
but and I know the raid's not even part of this season, but because there's really nothing that's happened this season, I still think the raid is going to be the thing that everybody remembers. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a really weird time. I mean, I understand, the pandemic, and I understand, you know, uh, working from home and all that stuff. But I mean, this content has been in the burner for like a long time. That's how it works with Destiny. Like they work on this stuff way before.
Mm.
So it's just a little bit like, it never sometimes to me it just never feels like they're learning sometimes
Yeah.
because
Right.
we've seen before that they've done content for seasons that's been fantastic, but we've also seen them do content that sucks. So it's weird that like the season loop for Warmind was awful, but then the season loop for Arrival was really good. So
Yeah.
like it's weird that we've gone back to like Warmind sort of where it just doesn't feel like
There's
anything's
still more
happening at
content to
all.
do in Warmind because yes, the towers weren't great, but they
Yeah.
were consistent content, group
Yeah.
content, in the world content.
Yeah.
You'd be
And it
doing
was
something
good
else
rewards.
and
And
you
there
got
was
pulled in. Yeah.
yeah, and there was a longer tail for just like you had to unlock. There was a ton of stuff to actually like put in time if you wanted to unlock all the bunkers, right? There was so
Yeah.
much you had to
Mhm.
do to
Yeah.
actually get them, and they all had like tangible rewards. You always had those like weapons that you unlocked for weekly purchase or like grinding and stuff like that. So, and on top of the actual like public event and the heroic public event and stuff like that. Whereas
Yeah.
here, I felt like we maxed out Crow in a week or two, and
Well, less than that. It was like 2 days, 3 days.
yeah, and
Dead easy,
Yeah.
wasn't it? To max them
yeah,
out.
Yeah. I mean, I maxed out Aldrin unbelievably fast. And I
yeah,
wasn't even trying to. That's the thing. Like, I know there's the thing about the Destiny community that we burn through content too fast.
yeah,
But now there's no content to burn through. It's like I wasn't even trying and I burned through Aldrin
yeah. I think we're
immediately.
being fair with like because like you said, there's a distinction, right? Sometimes it's disproportionate where there is actually a lot of things, but we just do it in you know
Right.
so much less time than the average player. But in this case, definitely, I think it's too little.
Yeah, and I mean, it's rough because, they're gonna say, "Oh, well, you got to take your time" or something. But the problem is they're not consistently giving content.
Mm.
Bungie's not consistent enough to give us content every month or so, or every couple months. And I'm talking about not just like a season. I'm talking about consistent stuff for us to chase, for us to do, to keep
Mm.
us logged in. I'm not gonna just play the game because I like Crucible. I like a lot of games that have random shit like the Crucible, so I can play those too. Like you have to give us something in your game that we really want to do that will make me not want to play any other game.
Mm.
So it's like, yeah, that's why there's like a distinction. Like this is a live service game, but it's not really a live service.
Mm.
It's so different from other live service games that give you content to consistently do. Like, and I hate always bringing up the Division, but like, and the Division is not a perfect game. I will say that right now. There is a lot wrong with that game. But right now, what they have going on with these manhunts, it gives you something to do. And it does take a while to do each one. Like I could do it in one day if I wanted to. I could do a target, but I don't because it's going to take me all day. So I just log in, and I'll do a couple of them, and then I'll do this and do that. But it gives you something to chase. Like if we had during Season of the Hunt Barons to hunt again or something,
Mm.
but make it a little bit more complicated because my big problem with the Barons was that it was like one mission and then you're done. Like if we had the Barons come out on like maybe a weekly or 2 weekly basis,
Mm.
that would have been really good hunt content because we'd be
Yeah.
hunting them down while doing Uldren stuff, like while hunting, the doing that. Um, that would have given us something else to do, a tangible thing to do during the season that also would have fit into the season. And I don't think it's crazy to come up with this through my head. The fact that I can just come up with this while doing a podcast episode,
Mm.
that's what worries me. Like, did no one in the creative control room think of that? Like, did somebody say that? And Luke Smith was like, nah, it's just going to cost too much manpower. We don't have time to do that or something. But it's like you have all the arenas in the game
Mm.
that we fought the Barons in. None of those arenas were sunset. So that would have been a really good way to keep us engaged because people would have been like, oh dude, this week this Baron comes out. I wonder what requirements we're gonna have to do to unlock hunting him down, and you could have like do this, like have like a list, and you got to do this and this and this and this uh in order to unlock the ability to hunt them down, and then you can hunt them down, and
Sure.
then that's something to look forward to. Because right now, if we look at the calendar, and we've done this a couple of times in the past couple episodes, we've looked at the
Yeah.
calendar and we're like, there's what is even coming? Like we don't even know what to be excited for.
Mm.
This calendar doesn't say anything, so we have no idea what's even going on this season. The fact that we don't even know when the Hawkmoon mission's coming is a major problem. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but like this is something that they were hyping up so much, and the fact that we don't even know when it's dropping, that's a huge oversight. You know what I mean? What do you
Yes.
think?
Yeah, I think the stuff that is on a rotation, so they're trying with a couple things like we have legendary lost sectors, we have the hunts for the actual, what are they called? The new empire hunts and stuff like that. They're so like understated content where, or how should I say it? Like it's not high profile enough to like matter to the constant player. That's stuff you do in the beginning and it's novel and it's cool. But if that's what they're relying on being like the weekly thing, you always log on. Okay, so I think it's cool. I log on most days to check what the legendary lost sector is because I've been farming those, and I think that's fantastic content for what it is. Like fantastic use of those lost sectors. So, but I feel like they're relying too much on those being like enough for the hardcore player, and it just isn't. Those are not it for the thing that's like gonna generate some kind of community excitement to log in and check. Like nobody's gonna. That's not something you know, log in excitedly and post on Reddit about like, oh, the legendary lost sector is now this, and you get chest armor. Like it's cool, but it's not the thing that gets people excited. So I feel like that's the miss. Like the stuff that they brought in as like a weekly thing or daily thing to check in on is not enough. Like it's not exciting enough.
I agree on that. You know, it's a bit rough. What do you think? What do you think, John? What are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, no, I agree. The content just isn't there, and they don't need to signpost everything and tell us everything. They're like, if the Hawkmoon thing is like a secret, obviously, as we discussed earlier with what Paul Tassi found and others found with the ship when you walk yourself manually through the Crow mission. But if it's not been found by now, it's probably not going to get found if it is a secret thing, because the community is really good at finding that stuff. There are people that scale the whole game continuously to find these things. So it'd be nice just to get watch out for week 10 of the season. We'll be dropping something, so then people know week 10 of the season you'll be looking for stuff. Or take for example, they've added 2 more achievements to the Warden title for this season, but we don't know what they are. That's great that they're hidden, but when's that content coming? There's only 4 unlocks left, 4 resets, or 3 or 4 resets left. Why add that after? People were expecting to have that finished last week, same as me, and then boom, no, it's not done because you've added 2 more. No communication on it. No, this week at Bungie, no developer post, no nothing. It's the community wants. We want to know things. We don't want to know everything. We want to know some things. When's Hawkmoon coming? Don't tell us the random roll's a thing, and then don't release it. That's the issue. My issue with it is they've told us it's going to come and not delivered. So especially when we had that bugged that week but when you logged in, it told you it was unlocked, but it wasn't. Like the week after, wasn't it? It popped up going, "Oh, you can do the mission now. Go and visit Spider," or whatever it was, and it was like, okay, but it's not there. So you've kind of let the cat out of the bag. Just release it. Just let us do it. We'd have been spending another 2 or 3 hours a week farming that. I would have done it on another character to get a role that I wanted on it. So I don't know. I just same issues I had after like 3 or 4 weeks is that just because it's an expansion launch season doesn't mean that they should limit the amount of seasonal content. That's what it feels like they've done. They probably thought Beyond Light was going to last longer than it has. To the casual player, it's still lasting them a long time. But we've all unlocked all our legendary, our exotics. We've all got the sword. We've all got the sniper rifle. We've maxed out season and we've done all that stuff. Now where's the stuff for us? Might sound elitist, but where's our stuff?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't think you're wrong when it comes to slight elitism, because like the elitists are the reason Destiny is still a thing. Like Destiny was in a really bad place for a while, and it was the elitists that stuck with the game that kept it going. And it's not that I have a problem with casualifying the game in a sense. Like I understand that. And I think it's great when new people get into the game. But
definitely, yeah.
At the end of the day, casuals are not the majority of the player base. They think they are. They're not. Because those are the kind of people that play the game for a month and then leave and then come back when the next expansion drops. They're not going to log in on the daily just to grab a random ass gun that they don't really need or care about. Meanwhile, there's people like us, and minus all the other things that have been going on in my life that have kept me from playing the game, I am still an elitist, even though I haven't done the raid. But the 3 of us, I think, remain quite committed to the game. And that goes for a lot of the people that we know. And I think we all are on the same page where we just don't feel like the people who live this game, they're not making the content for us. You know, like the lost sectors are cool, but like it wasn't really that hard for them to do that. You know, you just take a lost sector and you just crank up the difficulty and add some champions. There you go. There's your content. Have fun. Okay, but that gets old pretty quick. You know, once you get what you're looking for. You know, like once I get the throwing knife arms, I'm pretty much good. All my exotics have pretty good rolls. Like I'm fine. You know, like I'll do that a couple times, but like that's not something that's gonna make me want to like log in and be like, oh, I gotta do it. Oh man, you know. So it's like that's the problem. They're not making content for the elitist players anymore, and I'm not trying to say that to be like a dick or something, you know, like. But this game needs that kind of content to keep people engaged. You know, like in World of Warcraft, there was all this tough ass content that kept people logging in, that kept people committed to the game, that kept people like, oh, I need to hang out in this forest for 3 days and just kill these things for 3 straight days. And then I'll be high enough level to do this thing over and over again and da 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 da. You know, but we don't really have that kind of content in the game, so that's a major problem that we're having. And you know, I think some people are a little afraid to admit that, or like they don't want people to think they're like being snobby, but sometimes you have to be, you know, because this game definitely would not have lasted this long if it wasn't for the elitist players that stuck with it. You know,
I'd like to apologise to any World of Warcraft players out there. We've never hung around in forests to kill stuff, to kill high level content.
I'm just saying.
I'd like to apologise for that. Elwyn Forest
was
was for like 8 levels, something like that.
I used to hang out in the forests. I used to play as a dwarf. Yeah.
Okay. So so you just started in mountains. No
Well,
forests,
yeah,
so.
but I'm. Oh my God, John! It was an example. Oh,
Yeah, point being is, I
bought it fully. I've never played World of Warcraft, so I was like, okay, he knows what he's talking about.
It's still fun. You know,
it's awesome, yeah.
but I played it a long time ago.
So to be devil's advocate to my own point, if Bungie would just come out and go, we're struggling, you know, morale, resources, COVID, all that stuff is not conducive with us delivering 12 weeks of content. We can give you 8 weeks worth of content, but there will be a lull. You know, as a community, please accept this because we are doing the best we can. Yeah. That go a very long way, but right now they're not doing that. So if this content has been in the pipeline for 9 months to a year, like basic mission structure, basic assets, basic voice recording, storytelling, all that stuff has been in the pipeline for 9 to 12 months. That means we haven't hit the COVID season yet. That'll be either this season coming or the next season.
Oh, it's going to be rough.
Man. Exactly. So obviously the finishing touches will have gone into these previous seasons. We get that. The ensuring that content does work properly and that it is net optimized, it is balanced. All that stuff will have happened in recent times. But in terms of mission structure, AI, all that stuff, the stuff that you probably get people crunching till very late at night in an office with people and pizza, we haven't hit that stage yet. So if that is a reason why we have got bits and bobs of seasonal content, I do not want to see what March, April looks like. Yeah. Because that's COVID season. That is okay. Everybody's, because you saw the vidoc they did, didn't they? Where they was it like 1,000 laptops they had to master and get sent out and stuff for people to do their jobs. That's where we're going to start seeing stuff. That is with people sat in with Zavala sat in his closet recording lines. That's all that kind of stuff will be that time. Maybe that he's done some work for Beyond Light, but you'd like to think that a lot of Beyond Light's content again was made beginning of last year. You know, if using Blizzard example, if like Blizzard is usually 3 years behind. So Shadowlands that came out now, the base of it, and it will have all been planned out and everything years ago, and then they populate it. So, and they've managed to deliver that in a COVID situation. So yes, they're obviously a much bigger studio, but still, it's critically it's one of the best expansions since Lich King, which is saying something. So if they just came out and said that and were like, look, even 6 weeks, even if it's a 3-month season, but we can give you content every 2 weeks. That's fine, because you're like, okay, I don't need to log on the Tuesday of the week. I can leave it till maybe the weekend, or I can even miss a week because I'm not going to miss any new story content. I might log in and see what there is for Bright Dust and get some of my rituals out of the way. But I don't need to sit there and blast out this content just in case I have a hiccup at the weekend and I can't get online. It's right, I've got 2 weeks to get it done. Be transparent with us. There'll be backlash, and somebody will make a video on it and get all hardy-dar about it on Twitter. But also, when people sit back afterwards and said their bit, like I did earlier, I'll then go, actually, I'll respect that more.
Yeah.
If they went, look, we're all struggling. We don't know which members of their team have had COVID. Potentially, still have it, or family members have come off bad. We don't know any of that. So give us an insight, not into that side. You don't need to get personal, but give us an insight into how it's working. If it took you a week to deliver content from conception to beta test before, is it taking you 3 weeks now? Is it taking you a month? What's it doing? Let us know. We'll be able to defend you then. We'll be able to sit on this podcast and go, bloody hell, we've had 6 story missions in season 14 or 13, whatever it is next season. Whereas right now we go in, is that all we've got? All we've had? Because we can't defend it. Not even Christmas. Christmas is 2 weeks. So it's just not defendable, and I want to defend it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with you.
About you two. About you, Nick.
Well, one thing I'll say is that so I think any content that ever comes out is always a reflection of just how much resources they've had to work with. So I think in one sense it kind of goes without saying that a lot of this stuff just there hasn't been enough time and enough resources to make more. Like that's, I guess, the charitable way to look at it. So I don't necessarily need them to tell me that, because everybody knows that they are working with what they got and they're trying their best. But then, like, I think the discussion is like, is this stuff what they should have put their resources towards or not? Like, is the stuff that we do have, is that the wrong thing to focus on? And I think in a sense it is.
Right.
Like I feel like there's a way to create something more compelling that is repeatable, and they've had more inspired efforts in the past, which don't necessarily depend on time and resources. It's also just the creative output of the studio, and just I guess it's a lot of it is preference, but I feel like the general sentiment is that this stuff, just what is here, is not as good as like the same amount of stuff from a more inspired season. So my point being, like, I don't necessarily need them to come out and say that. I think it has to be business as usual for like investors and stuff. They can't show like that kind of weakness where they said, okay, well, it's not worth playing the game for the next few months. Like, they just can't say that, basically. So It's such a big thing still. I don't think they have even being as independent as they are right now. They're still, they have to make ends meet. They can't. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily waiting for that from them in any sense, but yeah, I guess I do agree with what you guys are saying in general.
Yeah, I mean, shit. This season is making me miss the sundial. The sundial was so much fun to just. I remember, like, I think the worst thing about this season, honestly, for me, is I don't play with my brother now. Like, my brother and I, we don't play because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So, like, and that hurts, that sucks. Cause like, I love playing with my brother. Like, that's fun, like having somebody that I can play the game with. And I remember when me and him would play the sundial like all day, and we just play it just to play it. Like the loot was cool, but we just played it because the sundial was fun. And that's that's part of what we're saying, like fun content.
Right.
The hunts could have been fun, but they're just like done in 2 seconds, and that's it.
Yeah, because Sundial, like you said, and for me, Menagerie is always gonna be like
Oh man, Menagerie was
the
so good.
yeah, so that's gonna be the high point of like the bar that was set that I felt like they've never matched after that. Still, like I'm still waiting for them to match that as a seasonal drop, and yeah, so the hunts just are just the fact that they're not as conducive to multiplayer either. Like I was doing hunts with a friend, and just you have to like match up your lures. Like you have to, it has to be, you both want different things, maybe,
Yeah,
and you have to do the same boss basically. You have to set it to the same boss if you want to
yeah,
play it together and to get rewards. So that's such a like baffling
tedious.
choice. Like baffling choice. Why make it so obtuse to actually like just play it together and both get rewarded for it?
Right.
Because yeah, like if you're both going for the stuff you actually want, then more likely than not you have to do it separate hunts.
Yeah, and
You
that's
can't even
really
play
shitty.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
The only
stupid that
one they
you
should
can't
have to
pick the reward.
Yeah. What? Sorry?
say the only one that they should have to do that on is the celebrant. The
Yeah.
other six should be the fire team leader picks what you go and do.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
like
celebrant should be the only one that you have to all match with, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
since the rewards are like they are rotating anyway, so there's no thematic reason to have like a boss tied to a specific reward because they always rotate. Like I could understand if okay, I want to go for this scout, I gotta go kill this guy. Like that's the guy that drops the scout. That's cool. That's thematic. But then like when it rotates every time you do a hunt, then it doesn't make any sense to randomize it. So there's only a small chance that both have the same reward on the same boss and both want that reward. Like it's so un- I can't understand that.
Yeah. And this is what worries me. It's little things. It's the
Yep.
little things that worry me. It's like
Yep.
I love the team. I think they work hard. Nobody's disputing that. But like remember when people say like work smart, not hard? Like
Exactly.
don't like I think the number one thing that I'm taking away from this chat is when you said are they pouring the amount of time into the right things?
Right.
Because like this showcases that it's very possible that they're not.
Mm.
Who thought that was a good idea? Who on the creative team thought that was fine? Because this has to go through quality control checks and all that stuff. Like nobody thought like this is kind of stupid. Like this doesn't make sense. Like that's the thing. Like the design, like the art and the sounds and all that was great. And the big fucking thing where the hunts are, cool.
Yeah.
But the reward system is fucking stupid as shit. Like, sorry, that's
It
just the
just
truth
is.
of it. It's dumb as fuck. Like, that's not to negate the hard work that was put into it, but I mean, it's fucking stupid as shit. Like, it just makes the gameplay experience worse, especially as a player. Like, it's shitty when you're playing with your friends, but it's just as bad when you're by yourself. Because if you're trying to get a specific reward, well, you might get fucked on your second hunt. Because if it
Yeah.
rotates and it's not even there, then you're like, well, great. Now I have to go do a fucking hunt that I don't even want to do.
Mm.
Like, so it's stupid because, like, at least with all the other seasonal content, including Warmind, that people didn't like that much, we at least knew what we were going for.
Mm.
So,
And
like,
Menagerie to like
yeah,
bring that back. That's
yeah,
you can exactly set it to what you want every single
yeah.
time.
In Sundial, there was a
Yeah.
fucking screen.
Yeah.
Sundial had a screen, and you picked what you wanted. Like, and that's I think Sundial, like it's Menagerie's here. Sundial's like right here,
Yeah. I
and then it
agree with
goes
that.
lower. But like even if we could get back to like a Sundial level,
Mm.
I'd be happy with that. I still want Menagerie, but if we can at least at the moment get to Sundial,
Yeah.
that's a step in the right direction. But unfortunately, and a lot of creators have said this, and I think it needs to be said consistently until they fix it. We're going lower in quality, and we just keep going lower and lower, and like
Because
that's not acceptable.
seasons used to mean we get the forges.
Yeah.
Imagine that was a season thing.
Yeah.
And even like Reckoning maybe wasn't the most popular thing, but it was also like a seasonal offering.
And
And
it was
then
consistent.
Menagerie, and there was like they were on a roll kind of.
Yeah.
Seasons meant much more in the past, and they still cost the same amount. So
Yeah. And I mean, like, remember the consistency.
yeah,
Forges and Reckoning may not have been perfect, but they were very consistent with their rewards. You knew what you were getting. You go to the Berguzia Forge, you know you're gonna get this weapon.
yeah,
You, yeah, like when you did the what was it? When you did Izanami Forge, you
yeah,
knew you were gonna get the pulse rifle.
yeah. Blast
Yeah,
furnace.
and I farmed the shit out of that fucking forge, and I had fun doing it. Like
Yeah.
it was a stupid little activity. Say hello to the kitty.
Hello.
But like you knew you were gonna get the pulse rifle, you know, so that kept you in the loop because you were like, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna keep going, and they eventually made it better. They made the
Yeah.
loop a little bit better and
Yeah.
quicker. And at that point, at that height of its reign, the forges were fun as fuck, you know. But even Reckoning, like you said, it wasn't perfect, and there were a lot of things, and especially there was really just the bridge. To be honest, like everybody just thinks the bridge
Yeah.
needed a fix. If they would have at least fixed the bridge, I think the Reckoning would have been great. Um, but at least with the Reckoning, if you got past the bridge, you
Yeah.
knew what rewards you were going for. Oh, I want the sword. Okay, so I have to wait for the knights. Oh, I want the grenade launcher. Okay, that's when Oryx is there. Like,
Yeah.
but with the hunts, you don't even have that consistency because the reward might fucking change, and then you're wasting your time. And the worst thing you can do in a video game is waste a player's time.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that's. What do you think, John?
Yeah, not in a bad way. We're going round in circles with it, but we need to because it's a frustration for us. And yeah, they could have decided not to sunset stuff because if they knew, obviously they obviously didn't know COVID was a thing, but they could have decided not to sunset content, specifically Leviathan and Menagerie, left those in for this season or next season or until they got to a point where they were like, right, we've got enough content to replace this now. Whereas right now there just isn't stuff to do.
Man, the
know?
easiest win. Just put new rewards in Menagerie. Call it a day. Like
Yeah.
Menagerie was awesome.
Even if they're reskins.
a new
Even
slate.
if they're reskins, who
A
cares?
new slate
Just
of
give us some
weapons.
shit.
Yeah. Use that.
Literally, I know that we all have our opinions on Adored, but if they would have given that treatment to like weapons and armor and just thrown it in the Menagerie and said, look, it's COVID, but we reskinned some stuff. It has some new roles. It's in Menagerie. This is going to hopefully keep you entertained for the season and season or two or three.
Because here's the thing, like
Everybody would have been cool with that.
Yeah, because a big part of that also with forges. Remember, like those, every weapon was. They're already like iconic. They're very very like desirable weapons also.
They look
So
awesome. So.
they look awesome. They had a strong identity. Like there was a whole like design identity for just a season. Like they had such a strong look to them, and they were all like best in class. You had Tatara Gaze, you had Blast Furnace. All those things were very very desirable. Then you had Beloved and all these things from Menagerie, and people wouldn't sit there and grind it all day necessarily. Even like at the end of the day, at some point it would get old, but then just having those, like you could always get that god roll on the next run. Like you always have this extra incentive. So I think it was just a perfect combination of both, which just feels like, yeah, that cohesiveness in design where you the whole loop is thought out. I think that's what sets them apart from what we have now.
Definitely, and I think that's one of the underlying problems is, again, saying it out loud, I realise it is that it's not necessarily lack of new content, it's just lack of content as a whole. Sunsetting so much stuff It's like, and then some of the stuff that is in the game, like the previous expansions, all the weapons are of a sunset, so you can't even get excited for getting something from the moon. It's just. I was reading earlier today that the only planetary vendor that sells non-sunsetted gear is Davrim. Why are the other vendors selling sunsetted gear? Don't do that, Bungie. They're in the They're selling us gear we can't use.
Yeah, I mean that's the
They're
truest thing I've heard.
they're the things that are not COVID based. They are not. They can't lean back and go, "We're in the middle of a pandemic." That is somebody just not doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody's got to stand up in the middle of a Zoom call or a Teams call or whatever they do and go, right, we need to boost this. We need to give these people new gear, or we need to unsunset their gear so people can get them and level them up, or something. That has got nothing to do with the pandemic. That is pure, just it's a strong word, but that's laziness. Because they're certainly not pumping out enough new content to warrant ignoring everybody else, apart from Davrim. Nobody cares about Davrim.
So they had the mea culpa. Was it Joe Blackburn who did the post about how like they understand there's not nearly enough weapons and things. So that's like a little ray of hope where they're gonna hire more people to make more rewards because they understand that there just has to be more to acquire. So
100%, yeah.
I suppose they have acknowledged it, and that's good. So time will tell.
That's going to be in a season or 2 seasons time. That will come down.
Right, and then they have the new
vendors selling gear that we can't use.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm not excusing that in any sense, but like yeah, that's I guess the only response in that we have heard. So
yeah, and I'm looking forward to those because what is the six new weapons that are exclusive to rituals?
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah,
6 ritual weapons and then Nightfall specific.
Yeah,
rewards, so those 3.
And that's great, but that's still 4 weeks away. And if the Nightfall ones are, is it Grandmaster only?
No. So the adept versions are from Grandmasters, but then the normal versions should be from.
Yeah, so that's fine. But then the adept ones are 7, 8 weeks into the season, or 6 weeks or so. So that's still 10 weeks away till we can get the adept versions. So it's like, just give him the Hawkmoon rerolls. That's all.
Yeah, I mean,
back to what we started with.
But that's my point. It's like, I know the Joe Blackburn thing is like, it's good to hear, but at the same time, it's like, why did it take this long for somebody to say that?
Yeah.
It's not, this is something that and this is what's annoying, and this is what's almost like, it's almost demeaning in a sense, because it's like, this is something the community has said for months, for longer. Like, everybody, we even said, like, Beyond Light's overpriced. Are we going to get the content that matches the price tag? Probably not. And lo and behold, we didn't. Yeah. So it's like, to give us less content than Shadowkeep, I mean, Jesus, that's pretty low. Like, it's kind of frustrating. It's like, and when I heard John mention the moon, I got depressed because I was like, I will die on that.
I want to go there again, but yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, I would give anything right now to farm for Loud Lullaby again.
Yes.
Like, please, for Christ's sake, like, I love that fucking gun. If you would just unsunset that gun, that gives me enough content for a couple weeks, because them shits is hard to get good rolls on.
Yeah.
I would have been so hype about that. The fact, and that's what doesn't make sense. It just feels like, and I don't want to call Luke Smith out, but he is in charge of the game. So ultimately, it is on him. How do you sunset all that shit, but you leave shit in the game that's also sunset? How do you leave the moon in the game, but you sunset everything on it? So then why is it even here? Like, I understand that you don't want to take away Shadowkeep. Okay, that's fine. But if everything from Shadowkeep is Sunset, then why would anyone play it? Why would even a new player play it? Why? For the campaign that lasts like 4 seconds? Like, there's no loot that's going to drop during that play session that they're going to need that they're going to use. So it's a waste of your time. So you're honestly better off just watching the cutscenes on YouTube. So why would you do the dungeon? Why would you do the dungeon in the Dreaming City? Besides trying to get a triumph or something, you know? Like, or the exotic if you don't have it. You know, there's no content that's going to drop there. There's no rewards that are going to drop in the dungeons besides the newest dungeon that that matter. Why bother doing any of that shit? The It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. And like you said, like Devrim is the only vendor that sells shit that's not the only planetary vendor that sells shit that's not Sunset. That is insane. But also, if you go to Devrim, his armor's not Sunset, but his weapons are. It's like, I'm sorry, but Luke Smith, I'm targeting you as a sign of question. I'm questioning you as to what was your plan. It doesn't feel like there was any thought given into this process. Like, if you want to sunset 2 planets at a time with all their loot and all that stuff, okay, that makes more sense. I can live with that. If we would have started this season and they removed Mercury and Titan, okay, that's fine. I can live with that. There's still plenty of other content I can do. And then the next season they take away the Leviathan or whatever, you know? Okay, that's fine. All right. Do it in small portions. The minute you just yank an entire thing, that's a problem. It's like, yeah, you guys ever been told by like your family or whatnot, okay, if you're gonna buy this thing, think about it first, make sure that you'll make it back. You know? When you sunset all that stuff, you have to make sure that you're gonna replace it. So if you don't instantly replace it, no fucking surprise that there's gonna be a huge void in the game.
Yeah, like I don't know how much I can say that I haven't said already, but like
Yeah.
they've done they've done 2 sun settings before, right?
Yeah.
Which they know what a successful sun setting looks like. It looks
Yeah.
like Taken King,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And Rise
That
of
was
Iron.
that was brutal sun setting of like
Yeah.
everything in the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave us so much back that everybody was praising them for it. So
Yeah, I mean they gave us everything and more.
Yeah.
You know, they removed everything for the listeners who didn't play Destiny 1 before Taken King. You had Destiny 1, you had House of Wolves, and you had Dark Below, all of which were like, they were okay. They were eh. Then Taken King came out, and mind you, Vault of Glass was a thing. Taken King came out, and basically everything before Taken King got sunset. So it was
every
all
single
shit.
thing.
But it all was brought right back with Taken King, but you just had to get it again. But see, that's okay. I don't mind if I have to get it again. Okay, I can live with that. But taking it away, that's the problem. But Taken King, they brought all of it back, and you also had Taken King. So you had double the shit. Yeah, you had to put in the work again, but that's why we played the game.
Mhm.
So Vault of Glass shit that you had before, it was shit then. But you could go back into Vault of Glass and get it again, which reinvigorates the process. So, like you said, that is the bar for a successful sunset.
And they did all that with a studio the same size, if not smaller than what they are now, because they didn't have
Exactly.
the support of Visceral, whatever they were called, and the other studio.
That's
It
like
was
4
just
years
them.
ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane to me. It's insane to me that they have not learned. They've literally, Luke Smith was the one who was in charge of that sunset.
Yeah, that's why he got the
So
game gifted to him because he did so well with it.
yeah, so it's like that's my point. Obviously you're not supposed to target people or whatever. You know, I think he's a nice guy. I think he's done a lot of nice things for the game, but that doesn't mean that he's perfect, and that doesn't mean that he doesn't fuck up. And especially, it hurts more because you know he's capable of doing good things for this game. So that's where it hurts because it's like it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't compute in my brain when he was responsible for the one really good sunset in the game, like one truly amazing sunset that
Yeah.
changed the game for the better. He saved the game, but is also in charge of kind of tanking the game. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know what's going on. Obviously, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but honestly, there's no excuse when you're in charge of the game. It all does fall on you, so you have to pay the price. And we've seen this happen with sports coaches that have won a championship but then sucked after. You set the bar. So that's always going to be the bar.
Yeah.
That's on you. You have to find a way to get back to that bar. So, we're all going to keep bringing up Taken King, and I think we should, because that was very much the height of this game, and the game has always been teetering here to here. It's never been going up. I'm sorry. It's just Destiny 2 has never felt like it was going up, because we remember Rise of Iron was pretty good, and then we went boom, then we came back up a little, and then we went boom again, and then we came up a little, and we're kind of just here. So
I'll say Forsaken was bomber. That was so good. No.
and that's what
Like
makes
the,
it hurt. Every
yeah.
time we reach a boom,
Oh,
it feels like we go straight down again.
yeah.
So it's just so weird to me because it's like the first boom in Destiny was Vault of Glass. Then it went down. Then Taken King. And it went down. Then House of Wolf, then Rise of Iron was a good way to send off the game, although I still don't think we needed Destiny 2. We could have just updated Destiny 1, but that's just my opinion. Then
I think
Destiny
that was
2 was a
Activision, though, wasn't
disaster.
it?
You know?
Mm.
So that's
You're making me want to install Destiny 1 and play it again now. Delete one of my
I still
characters and
play.
start completely fresh.
I still play Destiny 1, but like I said, it's not a negative episode. I don't think this is a negative episode. I think we're just
Got a
lamenting.
lot of chest, don't we? So,
Yeah, I think we're just lamenting that we know this game is capable of great things. And we've seen that this team is capable of great things. And unfortunately, I think the major issue is the game's team is not being used to their fullest potential. That's what I think is the problem. Their efforts, their talent is not being allocated correctly. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. What do you guys think?
I think you're right, and we're not in that situation. You know, I work from home, so I get working from home is a very different experience to working in the office, and that's where my relatability to it comes from. So, you know, as said, highlighted earlier, what we'll probably start seeing moving forward is the COVID era content. So they need to be managed. They need to look at what they achieve when they're in the office and go, that is a bare minimum. And if not, we need to manage expectations. So yeah, maybe not come out and go, hi guys, we're not going to have enough content to fit 3 months, but manage that expectation. Don't overhype a trailer and be like, oh, the return of Crow, boom, boom, boom. You know, they need to do it because it's marketing, but also have some manage it. You know, just be real world. Yes, it's a sci-fi fantasy game, but be real world with it. You know, we all gaming is an escape for us at the moment for all of us, and it's Destiny is a game that last year it brought me friends. You know, me and Nick met through somebody else's Twitch chat, but in regards to becoming friends, that's through Destiny. Destiny is
Yeah,
giving me that friendship with Nick. You know, it's made me
Absolutely.
reconnect with you, Dimitri. You know, we knew each other a little bit before, but we reconnected and we're doing this. You know, I know we're like, but Joker and whatever, but I wouldn't have got a chance to have be on a podcast with Joker and Orchid and others if it wasn't for Destiny. You
yeah,
know, my partner plays Destiny a lot. You know, we during lockdown where we couldn't go out the house, and everything we did, we had to every shop we did, we had to order. Somebody would leave it at our door, they'd step away, we'd bring it in. In that environment we lived in for months was
Hmm.
better because we would play Destiny till 4 o'clock in the morning. You know,
Yeah.
it's there. There's only so much I can look at it and go, I'm going to be able to recapture that. If they haven't got the resources to put into it, I haven't got the time to take out of it. You know,
Hmm.
I'm still around, I'll still play, and next season I'll play it and I'll be like, oh, this content's great, and then
Hmm.
probably 8 weeks in we'll go, we haven't had any content for 2 weeks. What's going on? And
Hmm.
that's where you can only fool me once, etc. Fool me twice. There's only so many times that can happen without
Yeah.
them being human about it and going, look, we're literally doing the best we can. That's all they need to say. Stuff like that. Be open and honest. Don't glitch stuff and make us see there's a reroll quest for something that they're not going to put in the game for another 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Just we're like, oh, it's in the game now. Let us do it. And we're sat
Yeah.
here again on a Tuesday waiting for it, and it's not here.
Yeah.
And
And then, yeah, I agree. I mean, and it's not like, it's not even that we need to be told specifically we're struggling, but
yeah,
we just need transparency. Like the
yeah,
community itself needs to be kept in the loop, because if you're asking us to spend this much money on a DLC and on a season
yeah,
and to spend our time on your product, you need to be consistent. It's no different than when I'm at work and a customer asks me, okay, you want me to spend $140 on this pair of shoes? Why? Sell me on it. Why do you want me to buy these shoes? Why do you want me to use these shoes every day? So they put the pressure on me. Okay, so it's my job to be transparent with them. And I'm not going to lie to a customer. Like if they ask me about one pair of shoes, but I don't like it that much, well, I tell them, that's not really my thing. But this one, okay, why? But that transparency is what is needed. Like we need to know what's going on. Now, we don't need to know what's going on in your meetings. We don't
yeah,
need to know what's going on in your life. You know, I don't need you to tell me we just can't do it. Like, can you just take this content and just enjoy it? But just keep us in the loop, keep us informed so that the community isn't going to be disappointed or shocked. When the glitch for the Hawkmoon mission happened, a proper response would have been like, we're sorry about the glitch. It's not supposed to come out yet. Right now, this is the date that we have tentatively. You can even say, like, we have it tentatively scheduled for this week.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything comes up, we'll be sure to put out a tweet. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I can live with that. Like, that's totally cool. But the glitch happened and they didn't say anything about it. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's the kind of transparency I think they can definitely afford,
yeah,
and that they should
Yeah.
have. Like they can't obviously telegraph that they're not gonna have tons of they have to have some kind of like keep up appearances. But when they screw up and when something is not right and people want answers to stuff, then I think there's no other way than to let people know. I
no,
think.
of
Yeah.
course, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
There's
agree.
definitely something that can be done, but it's reaching out. I say us as a community, reaching out in the right way and not sensationalizing the negatives. Again, people
Yeah.
make a living off of this content. We don't. We're here, three of us just chatting. No offense, chatting shit for an hour, especially
Yeah.
this week. But we're doing it because we need to get off our chests. But there are
Yeah.
people that make regular content for this on all different mediums, not just YouTube, but written, streaming, but other podcasts and stuff. And they will get viewers and listeners and readers through sensationalizing headlines of negative stuff. It's very, very rare you see a sensationalized positive headline at the moment about a lot of things, not just Destiny, but just in general, everything's super negative.
Yeah.
How awesome would it be for somebody like Luke Smith to log on the internet in the morning and see a positive headline about, wow, Bungie have done so well this season? We honestly can't say that right now because it's a seasonal, it's a new launch season, and there's not enough content there between the expansion and the season. Now, come next season, if we get half a season's worth of content regular, we can probably say that. But we're sat here with 4 weeks left going, I've done, apart from the raid for me and Dimitri, I've done every single bit of content there is in this game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, I'm not Grandmaster Nightfall, but that's just because I at least don't have the skills for that.
Yeah.
But I've done everything else, and I've got 4 weeks left. I shouldn't be saying that in the first season of a new Bungie year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pandemic or not, I shouldn't be saying that. I should be saying that 3 seasons in, going, oh yeah, logged on, did the what I can't remember what it's called now, but the event with a rival. I've done the season, I've done the story, done my rituals, and I'm off. I'm logging off for 4 days. That's fine. 2 or 3 seasons in, but the
Yeah.
first season and the second season, we shouldn't be doing that. And hopefully we're not next season. Hopefully, especially if we get Vault of Glass.
Yeah.
Or if we get content leading up, because that's my on a positive thing. That's my prediction for next season is that it will end with the reveal of however we get to the Vault of Glass. I think that would be a good way of doing it. Is literally the final week or the final week of story content. So that could be 6 weeks in. Is the reveal of that? So whether it's a portal, whether it's whatever it is, that would be a great way to end it. Because right now we've got nothing ending the season leading into next season, which is weird. You know, Arrivals, it led into this. Warmine, it led into Arrivals. You know, there has to be more content this season, even if it's just a mission that leads into next season. You know, because there have been some speculations and some leaks, I think, about what next season is, which obviously we won't go into because it's not what we really do. But if those things are correct, like the season title, they need to be feeding us that hype into it. Whereas right now, there's potentially nothing on the horizon apart from getting the Hawkmoon ornaments from Brightburst, which I think one of them went up today, did it, or is it next week that it's supposed to go up? According to
next week, I think. I think it's next week.
So it's, I don't know. I think capable of so much more. You know, so much more.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you. You know, it's rough, and I think there is a content creator who does make positive videos, Unknown Player. He makes really cool, informational, positive videos about content and this or that. Like he did a really cool video about Destiny 1 Alpha, like the original version of the game when they were building it or something. But like he makes like really positive videos. Like I've never seen him do a negative video, but like unfortunately, because there's no content, he hasn't uploaded it in a month.
Wow. Okay.
Because there's nothing for him to upload.
Yeah, he'd rather not upload anything than go negative, which
exactly
speaks in itself, doesn't it? So
it sucks. Like he does have a podcast. I think he uploads that on YouTube, but like he hasn't uploaded anything in a month because there's nothing for him to do. I mean, it's no different than Bife. Bife just tweeted that he'll finally be doing another video soon about the Vex invasion of Europa. And it's twofold for Bife because like one, there's not really anything in the game right now for him to do anything on, which kind of sucks. But two, all that awesome lore he does and all that cool shit, that shit that should be in the game that we should be able to read. That there's the fact that there hasn't been a codex, you know, like a Mass Effect for this game.
Yeah,
It doesn't make sense. He and other creators have said they will volunteer for free to do it. We've
had this discussion since House of Wolves and we're Dark Below. It's like, oh, here's an expansion, quote unquote expansion as they were at the time, which basically just seasons. Now, why has there been a codex added? And that will go on until hopefully not till the end of time. But that definitely isn't happening right now. If they, I tell you, I'd be pissed if they added that over actually adding in-game content.
Yeah.
If they went,
but I'm like, it wouldn't even be hard.
Here is it. It's like, no, I don't want that now. I want to be able to play the game. I'm happy with Bife stuff. Yeah. I want more content to play. I want more discoveries for Bife to make videos on, for example.
Yeah, but but it wouldn't even be hard to do a codex because like we've seen that like their voice actors have been working from their closets.
Yeah.
Well, Bife has his own studio in his house. You know, like in Myelin and all them, they could work in their houses, just send them the audio, and then Bungie's team, they could send like 2 people, 3 people to build the codex. Just base it just like the one in Mass Effect. You can boot that into the game. At least that's a thing to have. I'm just saying, like, a game like this needs a fucking codex. Like, what the fuck? But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. I mean, like, I just don't honestly feel like the game is trending in a very positive direction, because Beyond Light, it was fun for like a month. Like it was
literally
genuinely fun
solid
for
month,
like a
wasn't it?
month.
Man,
Yeah.
the name kind of takes a new ring, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It was Beyond Light.
yeah, right.
Oh
But it was
man,
like it
Beyond
was
Light on content.
genuinely fun
yeah.
for a month.
Yeah.
Like it was really really good, and then it was just like, well, there's nothing to do. It's like literally we're climbing up a hill, but we're having so much fun doing it, and then we get to a plateau.
Yeah.
And we're just
getting to high enough level to do the lost sectors to get my gloves, and then I got my gloves, and I was like, yes.
and then
You
that
know,
was
and then next season they're obviously going to add 3 more exotics for us to chase in lost sectors, and that'd be fine. But
Yeah.
so then we'll have to level up another 100 levels or whatever, light
Yeah.
levels. But that'll be 2 or 3, 4 weeks worth of content again. But it's actually not new content. We're just running old content, and that's where then we get into that discussion, which
Same
we'll put out
problem.
another time, because
Yeah.
we've gone off a bit. Is that I'm then running in season 3 of this year. We'll be running the same content for 9 months.
Yep.
Just to get up the ladder to run content that I can't now run because I'm not high enough level, even though I ran it on like the 17th of November. So, but that again, that's a different loop, which we none of us like, and we've gone over it again and again and again. So that'll be there until they change the leveling model, however they choose to do that.
Yeah, I mean, next episode we can devote that to talking about that, because like that's another major issue that people have talked about for months and can't really be forgiven. Well, yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, I just thought it came into my head just now. Europa's eventually going to end up like the moon. It's eventually going to just be this wasteland that's sunset, and nothing on it's going to matter. Like, unless Bungie gets its shit together,
won't it?
Yeah, but that scares me.
September. Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah.
When you think about it, we are
paid
10 months away from my
and
gear
it's
not
gonna be useless
working.
in a year.
Yep.
Awesome. That's a
Cheers,
problem.
Dimitri. And on that note,
Yeah.
go play something else.
Yeah. So that's a scary thought, that you paid this much money and it's gonna be shit in a year. Like the whole location's not gonna matter. I'm not crazy about that idea. But this was a good discussion. I think we got a lot off our chest that we've been thinking about for the past couple weeks. We've had time to think about this. So, like I said,
Yep.
It wasn't negative. It was truth.
Yeah.
We were getting some things out that we needed to say that we think a lot of the other player base in this game has thought. So,
long and short is we still love the game. We wanted it to succeed. We're just frustrated.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. And, that's the thing. The most passionate people about a product are going to be the ones that are the most vocal about it. So that's just how it goes sometimes. But, next episode, we will talk about the fact that running past content for leveling and all that shit is not fun. So look forward to talking with y'all guys again. And I really appreciate you guys coming back from our brief hiatus to return to this podcast. Sorry that we couldn't record yesterday, but I do have my medical eye drops now.
So you got your eye drops.
Doing a lot better now. My eyes feel a lot better now, but I have to wear glasses for a week, and I basically have a bunch of cuts on my eyes, so I have to wait for that to heal. So yeah, could be worse. So thanks for joining us on the Deep Stone podcast today. We look forward to getting another episode out to you soon. And stay safe, stay strong, and stay smiling. It's a rough time for all of us out there, and we all have to stick together and think positively so that we can get through this tough time together.
That's right.
Agreed.
All right. No. All righty. That's the end of this episode. So thanks for listening, and we will, get this out to you as soon as possible, and we'll get the next episode out on Sunday. See you laters.
Take care, guys. Bye.